Hello everyone, and welcome to a solo top Irelia commentary. This is actually a game where I'm going to actually explain a little bit more about the champion's mechanics, because I feel like in my previous commentaries I've kind of done a poor job explaining a few of them in some regards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you about what Irelia does and what her abilities do a little bit more in depth than I usually do with my other champions. Number one is her passive. Her passive is actually quite powerful, especially for an assassin or bruiser champion. It's a passive that really any bruiser or assassin would really want. It's called Ionian Fervor, and basically what it does is the more champions that are around, the more crowd control is reduced. So, generally what you're going to be doing is you're going to be team fighting like a monster the whole, in a 5v5, and that's where one of the things she really excels at besides 1v1s. I really feel like it's almost impossible to really gimp Irelia in terms of assassinating or being a bruiser, just because that passive exists. If they were to completely get rid of it, they would have to substitute it with something that was just as powerful, or else she just wouldn't be as strong as she always is, or generally is all the time. Her other ability is Blade Surge, and this is what makes her such a beast mode farmer. One of her strongest points, of course, like I said, is farming because of this Q. How it works is you gap close to a unit, and if you kill the unit, you get it refreshed and part of the mana cost refunded. So this makes it really hard to push it to burn the mana sustained from an Irelia unless she completely fails her Blade Surge. You generally want to pick this up at the beginning, but want to max it last, just because of the fact that it's not going to give you a whole lot compared to her other abilities, such as the next one, He-10 style, which, if I hit level 2 here, hopefully I will show you the power of this ability. So I get hit by a few creeps there. However, I do end up winning that trade, and I haven't used my potions yet, so definitely a positive outlook on that early trade right there. I'm just establishing to Riven that I'm not going to be the bitch of this relationship, so we'll see how this goes. I go ahead and pick up He-10 style. Passively, it gives you sustain. It used to be a lot more than this. It made her pretty much unstoppable in lane, but now you have to activate it to get double the sustain you would get before normally. So right there, she burns her red elixir. I know she's probably going to try something crazy early on because all Rivens tend to do so. So I'm going to wait until I get my second rank in He-10 style and my sustain. And I don't know what this Riven's doing, but she is getting completely crushed by my damage. However, one of the most important things to do when you're Irelia, is to be as patient as possible, because if you do anything too early, you can end up gimping your advantage, which is somewhat disadvantageous. And the other thing I didn't notice is that the enemy Ziggs was coming to top. She took an unnecessary tower hit, so that means that I can probably go in on her after a while. Missing a bit of CS here, not the end of the world, but because I did end up getting a few of them here. She ends up getting a ward, but that's not going to help her a whole lot because of the fact that I'm getting healed up a bit, and right here, I end up just slowing her a little bit. She ignites me and flashes, so I end up getting about a bunch for that trade. Anyway, getting back to the mechanics after that whole, casual first blood, because I'm not going to act like it really happened. Equilibrium Strike either doubles as a slow for by 60% for 1 second, or if the target is at higher health than you, which is the interesting part of her trading, so it makes her such a beast in lane and makes her pretty much impossible to trade with unless you're taking full advantage of the enemy Aurelia's lack of mechanical skills, is it doubles as a stun if the character is higher on health than Irelia. So basically all the Irelia has to do is wait until the enemy tries to trade in on her, stun them, activate hit 10 style, and if they try to get away, she can maximize the damage with Blade Surge. Generally, this is going to make her very, very, very difficult to trade with, especially if you don't have any sort of crowd control reduction, like, how do I say it? Well, just any form of crowd control reduction. It's going to make it really hard to fight in Irelia. And now I have more health, so Riven's going to have a harder time bursting me. Unfortunately, I didn't pick up a ward here, so I can't put on as much pressure as I would like to. But that's one of the beautiful things about Irelia, is that you don't really have to, for the most part. So right here, I'm going ahead and trading in on that Riven, and if she was, you know, manly there, she would have tried to go ham on me after I did that. I'm just going to go ahead and keep healing off these creeps, and generally, really, there's no way this Riven can fight me, so I've pretty much done my job, and I got a little greedy there, but I just kind of want to push her away from the minions. Because I know that there's another wave coming up, so it's going to be really risky for her to try to hit me. However, I think she realizes that I have very low mana, and that she can bait that use of the true damage there. I didn't want Nocturne to come after me, because I did kind of see him coming from behind the tower. So that's why I flashed there. I knew he would probably try something if I hadn't burned my flash. However, if I was even smarter, I probably wouldn't have burned it altogether, just because of the fact that I knew that he didn't have red, so he probably wouldn't have been able to stick onto me very easily. Also, I probably could have turned on him if he had tried anything too ballsy. So anyway, I'm continuing to farm. Gonna fast forward this a little bit. Just pushing up the minion wave. Thus far, I get a little greedy, and that causes my death very shortly here. And I should have known this kind of thing was going to happen, because honestly, if you have that kind of lead and you don't use it, you don't use the gold for it, then you can end up suffering for it quite massively like that. You don't want to end up giving your lane opponent a kill like that, because then they're not going to stay behind you. Like that's just a big problem that I've been prone to, is being too greedy in my lane, and honestly, that you really don't get a whole lot out of it other than a loss of a minion wave like this. Now, luckily for me, Scone was there to take the minion wave, but if he wasn't, then I would have lost a lot of gold from that death right there. What I did forget to go over with Irelia, it was her ultimate, and that's Transcendent Blades. It summons 4 Spirit Blades, and they heal for 25% of the damage on champions, and then 10% on minions. So that can give you a decent amount of sustain against champions and team fights, but against anything else, it really doesn't do a whole lot. I mean, against minions, it's basically just for wave clear and moderate sustain. So, generally what makes Irelia is her true damage and her sustain. Now that spells out disaster for AD casters. I think among the people that suffer the most against Irelia are AD casters like Renekton and Riven. People might disagree with me when I say Renekton, but if you think about what his objective is, he kind of is counterintuitive to what you want against Riven, which is a push. You don't want someone to push against Riven, because just because of the fact that if you push against Riven, I mean, if you push against Irelia, not a whole lot's going to come out of it. So I know that they're going to kill me if I continue to stay here. I don't know how the hell she hit me there, but I get 2 ults there, so I guess that's whatever. I mean, I do end up dying, but this is one of my last deaths that I have this whole game. Unfortunately, now Riven is about even in terms of gold here. If I do recall correctly, She is barely ahead of in gold with me. Let me go ahead and set up this scoreboard again, because this is kind of gets on my nerves. Give me one moment. There we go. Gonna go ahead and straighten that up. So I go ahead and get my Ninja Tabi, keeping in mind that I need tenacity as quickly as possible. I am going to end up getting a Zephyr before my Blade of the Ruined King. If I had gotten Mercury Treads instead, I probably would have gotten Blade of the Ruined King before my Zephyr. If I had even gotten it in particular. I do like Zephyr as an item though on Irelia, so usually I try to go for like Berserker's Greaves or Ninja Tabi if I'm really kind of starting to be either even or behind my lane opponent. That's an AD bruiser. In addition to the fact that they didn't have really any magic damage on this whole team. They had Ziggs, but he was far enough behind to the point where I didn't really have to worry about his damage a whole lot. Granted, yes, I did have to worry about it a little bit, but one of the other things about Ziggs is that his damage is a little unreliable, and if you're fast enough, and which I knew I was with Zephyr, you can generally avoid that damage relatively easily. So you generally want to max your Hiten style first, because it'll give you more true damage and more trading power. So right here, I go ahead and try to trade on this Riven, and she misses her stun, so that's also good. That means she can't really trade on me for a little bit. She is maxing her stun first, which is fairly common, especially right now, when she knows that she can't full-on engage me, so she's not going to max her Q quite yet. She is maxing it second, so I am going to have to be wary of that later on. But honestly, I'm really not that worried about her anymore, because I can just stun her this whole time, and I pretty much just win that trade relatively easily. And I'm still farming, and she can't really match my sustain until later on when she gets all the sustained items she really needs. One of the other things is that she keeps trying to trade in on me at this rate, and it's really not doing much for her. Anyway, I'm maxing Equilibrium Strike second so I can have the longer stun. So I can do stuff like this, where I kind of secure my lead a little bit further. I am 2 kills behind, but this is pretty much going to stay at like I'm gonna die like one more time, and then I'm gonna show you what happens when an Irelia snowballs this hard. So because of the fact that Irelia is a different type of bruiser, aka an assassin-esque type bruiser, and she used to literally be an assassin, just because her numbers were so high, and they had to be adjusted because, you know, they were pretty ridiculous. The builds are a little stale now, but they still do work. As long as Irelia has her kit, she's going to be really, really hard to balance for the most part. And sorry I'm keeping my voice down, guys. This is being recorded pretty late at night. I mean, I'm kind of a night owl myself, so... anyway, I go ahead and get my Stinger, because I know that cooldown reduction and attack speed are really going to help me right now. More armor isn't really going to do much for me right now, just because of the fact that I'm already just so far ahead of everyone that's AD, to the point where I feel like I can take on most of their squishy champions without too much damage taken. I go ahead and take them out here, and I go ahead and dive the I go ahead and help them dive the Caitlyn and Zyra relatively easily. I wait until Caitlyn gets into the bush, and then I attack the Caitlyn, and I get out relatively easily. See, that's the kind of mechanical skill that it's going to take. I mean, you have to know those kinds of things, where I knew that they probably didn't have a ward in that bush. because very few people like to ward that bush, and I knew that Caitlyn would probably continually try to kill me. Normally, Caitlyn's think, or any AD carry thinks you're gonna just run away from them, but since I'm a man, I mean, I'm just manly like that. Um, Generally, I just fight them, and I knew that she was gonna do that, so I took a full advantage of that situation. I did know Nocturne was trying to take our blue. I also knew that we were gonna have a stun for this whole thing. So we go ahead and get that cheese kill because he was a little out of position there. Now I have a killing spree, and as I said, there's just very few things you can do against a snowballed Irelia like this. What I should have done here is, knowing that Nocturne was dead, I should have just pushed up the wave and then taken full advantage of my lead. And I definitely shouldn't have gotten greedy for creeps here. Kind of ended up leading to disaster. As I said, one of the two key things about top lane and about playing characters like Irelia in general is knowing when to be patient and when to just know when you're beat and everything. I just can't stress to you enough that how important that is for assassin type characters, because you definitely don't want to make a wrong calculation and just die for all the hard work that you've done to get ahead in the first place. I do kind of end up behind. I mean, I do end up kind of getting this, like she ends up getting the shutdown kill on me just because of the fact that I feel like I can't afford to give up this minion wave that easily. Also due to the fact that the minion waves are coming back quite often. See, I start to go back right here, but I didn't see Riven around for quite a while, and Riven right here, she ends up being, so I should have just backed off after this minion wave was dead, but instead I got a little too greedy for more creeps. So anyway, well actually, I don't think this was the part. I end up getting my Zephyr, so that means I have increased movement speed, and I have increased AD, and increased cooldown reduction and tenacity. So that's definitely going to be a huge deal in these coming fights. I should have also waited until Riven got rid of her red buff, because that actually did do quite a bit of damage to me. Another thing that I failed to recognize was that she had quite a big creep wave up there. So I ended up trading a lot of mana to get all my health back. If I had my ultimate for when she tried to go in on me, I probably could have either killed her or stayed alive long enough to kill her and live. Well, I would have just killed her and not died if I had my ultimate there. So right here, I'm gonna go ahead and get a little greedy for this minion wave here. It's a little unfortunate. I do know that Nocturne is, well, I don't know where Nocturne is actually, so that was kind of my mistake in terms of the trade here. I also should have waited until I healed a little more, because one of the things I should have recognized was that I'm far ahead anyway, so I didn't even really have to fight her, but instead I tried to get into a stupid engagement with her, and that ended up costing me my life. I also used my, on the other form of sustain, when I was ignited, and that's definitely not something you want to do. She ends up getting the shutdown kill, and I end up killing her, but she ends up getting more for that because she gets the 500 gold from the shutdown kill on me. So anyway, I'm going to fast forward through this weird fight Skunty's had with Nocturne. He's pretty well fed too. However, what I'm starting to do now that I know that I'm decently far ahead enough to the point where I can make these plays, is I'm starting to roam into the other lanes a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and stick behind the creep wave. I don't know if they saw me, but chances are they didn't. So they might get a little aggressive on Tristana and everything. Also, I know they saw me here, but I just want to keep them from getting any more aggressive than they're already being. I also kind of wanted Blitz to land a grab, so that, you know, I could stun them or something. but it didn't end up happening. So, you know, we just ended up pushing the tower and being on our merry way after that. I don't know what the hell this Nocturne was doing, but he ends up paying for being kind of uninsightful. We end up killing the Nocturne, and, well, the Karthus does. I decided to go ahead and kill the Zyra relatively effortlessly, but I did recognize that Ziggs had just killed, I just killed the Blitzcrank, so I didn't want to kind of keep that from being in vain. Also, we ended up going after the Riven, and, well, I end up using my stun to secure the kill on her. Now I'm very, 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 very much ahead in this matchup. Yes, the Riven matchup is very kind of unchallenging for Irelia, but honestly, I couldn't really. I couldn't really. What's it called? I couldn't really help what she picked. I just kind of wanted to play Irelia, and she decided to play Riven afterwards, and I was like, okay, well, if you want to fail the matchup, that's fine. I kind of wanted to play what I wanted to play. So, unfortunately, Zyra ends up saving the Ziggs. I probably would have killed him if she hadn't done that, but I was also out of mana, so I told Karthus to run away because I knew he didn't have any mana left. I told everyone to just back off because at this rate there wasn't a whole lot that would have come of it. Tristana is really low, so she's backing off. Admittedly, she probably could have sustained herself a little bit more, but we didn't want to take that chance. So I end up getting my components for Blade of the Ruined King. Honestly, this whole game, I never really felt like I needed to get horribly tanky, specifically because Jarvan had Aegis of Legion at this point. So any sort of tankiness that I was missing would have been easily remedied by the fact that Jarvan had Aegis. So I'm going ahead and sticking around here. The fact that I'm going to get Blade of the Ruined King is going to secure kills on Riven, who are stacking health, and it's going to keep them from being too much of an issue for very much longer. So I'm still just kind of sustaining back up to full again, and again, there's not a whole lot they can do against me at this point. I'm just really far ahead, and I have a lot of defenses. Well, not a lot of defenses, just a lot of armor. Like, at this point, their AD bruisers just can't really touch me and live. I probably could have just stunned the Riven and been fine at that rate, but I just kind of didn't want to risk it because I didn't know where everybody else was, including Nocturne. It would have been a pretty poor engagement. Tristana also wasn't there, and her range and damage is a big reason why we keep winning teamfights. So we just kind of played a little passive because Tristana wasn't there quite yet. But she is running to mid as quickly as she can. If we do end up getting if Blitz ended up getting a grab here, that would have been in an outstanding position for us because of the fact that they would have been down like one squishy, and then we could have just sieged a lot easier. But since it was 5v4, and we can't really 5v4 just yet, wasn't a whole lot we could do quite then. However, what I do know is that I can probably dash to Caitlyn and stun her, and that'll be a pretty damn good engage. I also know that my passive will. The reason I'm stepping on the traps is because I know my passive will allow me to not be bound for very long. So I ended up just burning that anyway. Also, I was lagging, which is why I didn't really use my ulti very much. I don't know what the hell's going on this whole game, but we're being pretty passive for some reason. Scone could have probably been a man here and gone in on somebody, but I guess we didn't want to secure our lead any further or something. I don't know what was going on. I think we were just both waiting on dragons so we could get into a dragon fight, because we do know that we can definitely get into a dragon fight. Great. I was getting top farm at this point, but they're being super manly, so yeah, I mean, good on them, I guess. And I don't know what the hell this Caitlyn's doing. Why she didn't? I don't know why Caitlyn didn't, instead of, you know, not being a man, I don't know why Caitlyn didn't just use her net to get out of that whole thing. I think she used it a little too early there. But anyway, I mean, as long as we're ahead, I don't really care, honestly. So, I have my Blade of the Ruined King now. It's going to be really hard for them to negate my damage very much. Sorry for the slowdown there, guys. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. We're just kind of doing a whole lot of nothing here. We're all a little low, so we're being a little cautious. Kind of backing off a little bit, eh? And honestly, I don't know what's with the sudden like resurgence of Ziggs, but either way, like, it's kind of really stuck there. Anyway, I end up basically killing the Riven while they're trying to kill Stana for no reason. So I end up getting a double kill because they're trying to get through me, which is a really bad idea. The Blitz ends up dying to a random Ziggs snipe, and he reacted a little too slowly for my tastes. One of the things I wanted to do was, I was like, you know, let's go in on Caitlyn there, and I was like, be a man, Scone, be a man, and well, I end up killing this Caitlyn and being super manly, and I get out with 30 health because I have that Zed hidden passive. If you saw that commentary, where if I get hit over and over and over again, I had that hidden passive where I refuse to die after getting hit over and over again. Yeah, I basically have Trindamir's ultimate on an infinite cooldown, so that's me. That's how I work. Anyway, I get my chainmail because I want to make it harder for their AD bruisers to kill me even more. And I'm not really that worried about Ziggs, because of the fact that he just explodes at the beginning of fights so quickly. I'm just gonna make it harder for their bruisers to kill me, all the quicker. Riven just can't hope to fight me at this point. She just does no damage to me. So I'm continually just harassing the crap out of her, and she almost like tips over and dies. So really nothing special there. I have pretty much a full build here. I mean, not a full build, but get into a full build. I was gonna get a, if I remember correctly, I was going to get a Frozen Fist, but and then a Warmogs, and then maybe something like a Spirit Visage or something to give me more cooldown reduction, so I can have my true damage up a little bit more. But Wit's End is always good too. I probably would have gotten Wit's End actually, just because of the fact that I would have Warmogs, so it'd be harder to burst me anyway. But anyway, we're pushing up a little bit more. They're about to surrender pretty soon here. They tried the same thing like basically 3 times. I don't know what the hell their deal was. The Nocturne wasn't horribly intelligent in my view. See right here, he tries again to go in on Tristana. So I don't know what that's about. The Riven couldn't get to Tristana fast enough, and I end up, well, I mean, she did end up killing her, but meh, she's about to die, so no big deal. Karthus gets a quadra kill at the very end, so we all have a little bit of a laugh at that, and well, Stone Thief and my manly self, both us men, end up pushing down both these turrets, and they end up surrendering pretty soon. And so that's pretty much GG. That's pretty much the sort of things you need to know about Irelia. Is, like I said, be super patient. I mean, be really patient when you're going in on somebody, because you pretty much have all the time in the world to do so. You can play a passive Irelia game. That's how I used to play. until I got tired of being a little bitch and decided to get in people's faces. So that's an Irelia commentary. Go ahead and like, favorite, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.